Fáilte. Welcome to a week in the life of a Gaelic writer. Ismisha Alison Lang. I'm a novelist, dramatist, editor, general hack. I will turn my hand to most kinds of writing. And this is my first video about what I'm working on and how I write. It's been a busy week. I've delivered a manuscript, I've participated in 2 literary events, I've been to see a play, I've read some play scripts, and I have made some YouTube videos besides this one, which I'll be posting next week. Agus mas stéit mi na satir erst, siúise ha iolach orm, bishop sminihug, Cushion Alison how being a severe. Well, maybe I'm just softening in my old age because I used to get very exercised about people who talk about Gaelic things in English. But inspired by the events of Monday afternoon, I thought it would be interesting to do this in English because there are people who are maybe not fluent yet, or perhaps they don't even aspire to be fluent in Gaelic, but they're interested in Gaelic, they're interested in the creative process, and they want to know something about how writers write in any language. So, stochagum bí mi mescuchug, bican Gaelic, bican Bearla, híshing at a hand video and show a dollar erst. So, Jaluain, on Monday, I delivered the text for my next novel, which is called An Ballach Big Ag Dorson agus na Chóla The Little Boy Who Listened at Doors and What He Heard. This has been parked for a long time. I actually finished the first draft of it more than a year ago, but what with one thing and another and getting feedback from people and redrafting it, it's only now going to the editor. And I was a bit worried about the ending. I wasn't happy with it. It just seemed I couldn't quite reconcile myself with what I'd done, and I thought maybe I needed to change it. So I asked my publisher if I could have just a little bit more time to revise it again. But actually when I did that, last week and over the weekend, I went through the whole text again. And having done that, I felt a lot happier about the ending as it was. So I thought, well, rather than tinker with it now, I'm just going to send it to the editor, see what she thinks, and we can revise it in due course. So we'll be doing that between now and Christmas, and the book is going to be published in the spring of 2018. So I'll let you know what's going on with that. But it was a great relief to get that out of the way, and almost as soon as I had sent the email on Monday, I headed off to Glasgow to Féis Lítrichis Olhai Glasachu ag Roin NicLeòid agus bevelam tang vor do Fiona Dunn agus Sheila Heimbel wo Olhai Glasachu agus Corn and Jorichin as an tachatus sin dói. I was sharing the stage, not that there was a stage, it was very low-key and laid back. I was sharing the space, let's say, with Màiri NicLeòid, whose second book, this novel, Eile, I have had the pleasure of editing over the past year, and Màiri's book came out just about a few weeks ago. So the two of us were talking to the students about our writing journeys, how we got started, what sort of things interest us. And it was lovely to see Màiri in person, because quite often when you're working as an editor with an author, you don't meet face to face, or at least not very often. And it's nice to see people in the flesh from time to time. As I said at the beginning of the video about whether I would speak in English or whether I would speak in Gaelic, that event was in English. And although another event I did later in the week was in Gaelic. Let's just see how it goes language-wise. So that was Monday, and it was nice to meet people who are interested in writing. I could talk for hours, so could Màiri, and we were very warmly welcomed by Fiona Dunn from the University of Glasgow. Jamarst chaim I Cilríving. Cilríving is the Gaelic name for St Andrews, which is where I went to university for my undergraduate degree. But I was not just there to wallow in nostalgia, I was there to see a play at the Bàir Theatre called Rocket Post. This is the programme here for Rocket Post. It is a National Theatre of Scotland production, written and directed by Lewis Hetherington, and among the cast is my friend MJ Deans, whom I hadn't seen for a very long time, so it was nice to catch up with her in between the matinee and the evening performance. Rocket Post is a play for children and families, but I was absolutely entranced by it. It's got English and Gaelic and German, and singing and dancing and puppets and explosions and everything you could possibly pack in to an hour-long show. And it tells the true story of Gerhard Zucker, a rocket scientist who in the 1930s had the brilliant but perhaps not very well thought out idea of sending letters by rocket between the islands of Harris and Scarp in the Outer Hebrides. Poor old Gerhard, things didn't really go so well. The play is still touring. It's going to be in, it's going to be in Alloa, in Falkirk, in Paisley, and then it's finishing its run in Harris, fittingly, next weekend. So if you get a chance, go along and see it. It was an absolutely delightful performance. Congratulations to everyone involved. So I've put links to anything I mention in the video will be linked below, so I'll put a link to the NTS website and you can check out whether there's a performance near you in the coming week. And then on Wednesday I was back in Glasgow University for another event in the Féis Lítrichis Olhai Glasgow, but this time in Gaelic and with the poet Marcus Machtan Tornath, Joe Charrichgo, agus Sarvart. He writes in a he creates some really lovely imagery in his poetry, and he writes about some very personal issues. What we were talking about particularly on Wednesday at the literary festival was about how the representation of LGBT voices in Gaelic literature and how very few of them there are. So Marcus is perhaps the only openly gay poet writing in Gaelic in Scotland at the present time. That seems quite strange, but apparently that is the case. So again, it was lovely to catch up with Marcus and to hear him read some of his poems and to speak to the students. So then let's see, what else? Oh yes, I've been recording some YouTube videos which will be entirely in Gaelic. The first of those will be posted next week. So keep an eye out because I intend to do one every week until I run out of books to talk about, and let's hope that never happens. And the other thing I've been doing is I've been working with the Traverse Theatre and James Gillespie's High School on a project called Class Act, in which the pupils of a number of Edinburgh schools are writing scripts for plays that are going to be performed by professional actors at the Traverse Theatre next month. This week was the deadline for first drafts, and I'll tell you more about this in the coming weeks because we're going to have a workshop with actors in the school which will give the pupils a chance to see how their scripts are working. They can revise them, and then eventually we will have a script that's ready to be produced for the final performance. But the thing that has really impressed me at this early stage is how the pupils have been thinking not just about telling the story and about creating a story in which interesting things happen and characters have relationships with each other and how their motivations affect what they do and how what other people do, what other characters do, will affect their characters. They've thought all that out very carefully, but also they've been thinking about how to tell this story, not just as a narrative, but as a piece of theatre. So they're thinking about how to use the stage. Who is where? Is there a spotlight on this person? Is there a voice from off stage? Can you turn the table upside down and pretend that it's a boat? All sorts of things like this that have made them think about the more physical aspects of telling this story in their stories in a theatre space. So that has been great to see, and I'm really excited to see the next stage of the play. So these are the pupils from James Gillespie's High School. As we get nearer to the event, I'll tell you a bit more about that because their performances are all going to be at the Traverse Theatre in November. So, Sinead Wormser and Chachkunse, Appa Shachgun, it's been a jam-packed week. Next week I'm going to talk about software because I'm trying out some new software that I haven't used before, and let's just see if it lives up to the claims that its makers have for it. But until then, keep reading, keep writing, let me know what you think, and Himiri Hishu, Cheery and Draste.